Thank you.
There we go. We got things going. Looks like we lost Karen again for a minute. Everybody, this is my husband, Larry Dees.
Hey,
And,
Larry.
some of y'all have seen or met him before. I know Bill and Bruce have. Larry's also going to be joining our little party here and become a member hopefully in the future. So I've enticed him to sit through this tonight and see what he thinks.
Entice is a pretty interesting word, Bruce. I mean, what did he really do?
Yeah.
Most of us guys follow the last command, okay?
Yeah, if he's really good, he gets to have dinner when we're done. How's that?
Oh,
Join us, eat. You know, it's the way it works.
okay.
We're really close to 6:30. I don't think we're going to be an hour tonight. And I'm not sure that we're going to have others online tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling for everybody because I know everybody's had long days. A couple of things before we start off the full, well, I guess one thing primarily. If y'all have listened, as I have over the last several meetings, we try to say the pledge and we try to do the four-way test, and between computer lag and us kind of doing things at different times, it comes across really odd. Anant and I were talking earlier and he had kind of seen the same thing. And as a Toastmasters person, where public speaking is the key, he suggested as a way to remedy that to have one person each meeting identified to lead. And they'll say the first line, the people will repeat behind them. That way you have one person say it, everybody repeat the same thing at the same time. Then they'll say the first line, repeat after. And that might be a good resolution to the online mishaps of how we do these things. So I thought I would try it tonight and see. Happy for anybody else who wants to volunteer with our pledge. And I can share my screen. I actually put something with the words on it because, you know, if you've ever been in that in the Rotary meeting or any of the other meetings and you're sitting there and everybody's doing it together and you think, oh my gosh, is that the right line? So anyway, if everybody can see it, I actually have the thing. So if anybody would like to lead, that's fine. If not, I will start off and we can start with our pledge. No rousing volunteers there. All right, feel free to unmute. I will begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance.
There you go. To the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America
of the
United States of America.
and to the republic
And to the republic
for which it stands,
for which it stands,
one nation,
one nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
Wow, we are slow.
That was fine tuned.
What?
I said that was fine tuned. You did
There
well.
you go. So I'm going to have Bill do our invocation tonight. He's volunteered to handle that in his very fine way. So we will all be silent for Bill to do that, and it won't be as disjointed or slow.
Oh, okay. Father, thank you for the privilege that we have to gather tonight in the name of Jesus and to share some things with each other that are on the hearts of so many and on the minds of so many. And I pray, Father, that you might give us insight and creativity so that we might be about the business of serving others the way you would, in a way that will be good for them and bring honor and glory to you. So bless our time together, I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. One of the things that I'm really excited about right now is some of the seminar information that Bruce has led me to, and I'm thankful for that. And last night was the first one done by the Zones 3031, and it was really good. There were about 105 people online, I think, from districts all over in these zones, and it was called Silver Linings. And I just wanted to share a little bit of that as we're getting our programs worked out, which next week Anant will actually be putting on our program. He's got a PowerPoint put together already, and it's looking to be a good one, talking about some of the service projects and an idea he has for a service project for us to start with. So I'm pretty excited about that. But for tonight, I'm going to sing and dance for y'all. Okay. you don't ever want me to do that, I promise you. But I do want to talk about this silver linings and the direction that Rotary is moving. And I'm going to start off, and I'm going to try not to bore you too much, and excuse the pitiful reading glasses. I can't see, and I can't choose good reading glasses. But in the most recent Rotary magazine, one of the things they were highlighting is how we're finding fresh ways to connect. That's the headline on this. And one of the things that our new Rotary International President, Shakar Mehta, I probably mangled his name, said in this opening article is that his vision is to increase membership to 1.3 million by July of 2022. His call to action is each one bring one. And he wants to recognize every Rotarian and Rotaractor to introduce a new person into the club. And for those who introduce at least 25, they will become members of the new membership society. So they're opening up a new society even because the focus is so strongly on membership this year, stopping where we've lost members, increasing membership, targeting younger people who really want to be boots on the ground and helping in their communities and around the world. One of the things that seems to be universal with us for this club is one of the primary goals is to be able to retain our membership in Rotary or join Rotary and really help out in our communities in this grand group of people. So last night, one of the things that was part of that focus was in discussing what clubs had done through the pandemic, what they're going to continue to do that they learned. And unanimously, it was this online presence. So it's like everybody's eyes have been awakened to the fact that we have an entirely new avenue that's really never been explored before. And they're launching Rotary Passport clubs in other districts. But a lot of regular brick and mortar clubs, I don't know what else to call them, the face-to-face clubs that are standard went to a hybrid program. So through COVID, they would do some face-to-face meetings, but they would still broadcast those meetings online. And many of them from our zone seems to be that they've liked it and their membership is stabilized in using both formats. So as people become more accustomed, you kind of have to be a little more creative with the online piece of it. Last night, they were showing clips from fundraising and different things. And on one of them, one of the guys had these glasses on. And while we're watching the thing, it was a little bit annoying because he had them flashing the whole time. They're like lime green glasses with like a vertical shades across them and lights going across the top. Well, then they're showing one of these meetings that they had together. And everybody in the meeting had these glasses. Somebody had bought them, they'd shipped them out to all the members. So for that meeting, everybody was wearing these glasses. And it was just interesting to see, it was interesting to listen to them get engaged and excited about how they changed things in order to be successful. One of the ways that they changed is in some of the fundraising. Some of the things that they did, they put together, they were supposed to have a silent auction for one of the clubs. It's one of their big fundraisers, and they auction off baskets that have been assembled through donated items or things that members want to put together. And then they do the auction usually with a dinner. Well, they couldn't do that because of COVID. So they set it up on one of the online fundraising sites. She said it was an extremely expensive one. I've seen it once and I don't remember the name offhand, and they're moving to a different platform. But they said their participation skyrocketed because they had, people could just dial in and friends could send us out to other friends, and it just spread. So they wound up auctioning all the baskets. I want to say they brought in $40,000 or more with this that went to the Rotary Foundation. And then they just mailed the baskets out to everybody. So the club had some cost in mailing. A lot of the items were donated. And I'm thinking that could be something that we could look at as each member can create a basket through donated items they want to put together themselves, really nice, larger basket type things, and something we can talk about as we move along, and create an auction that we can then do. And then whoever, get things like that going to just do a simple fundraiser. But there were other things that were fun. Somebody did like a Hell's Kitchen sort of thing. They sent the food, the prepared meals out like a meal service, all the ingredients, and had a chef do it, and they showed them how to cook it, and then the people cooked it in their kitchens online, as you know, kind of a short, something you would see on what's the other one that Kelsey won? Top Chef. There we go. More than Hell's Kitchen, Top Chef. I've done one that was a virtual wine tasting. Shipped out the bottles of wine, a little bit of cheese, a few nuts, had somebody who was a sommelier put together a presentation of different areas where the wine came from, talk about that, talk about everything else while we all sipped wine online. It was really fun by the end of it. We had 3 bottles of wine. So I would say be thinking about what we can do to start raising money when we're able to start really raising money, but also then think about what do we want to be part of in our communities. One of the things that would be an easy reach for us, as far flung as we are, is to identify a school in your area who may, the school may need supplies or may need other things that you can stock. It's something that we can do as a group, but yet individually, and then bring that to the schools. And that's just some of the things that we were seeing as part of what we're doing on an online, as an online group throughout Rotary, not just in passport clubs, but in our brick and mortar clubs. One of the exciting things was everybody I have spoken to, and let me tell you, I am the proverbial drum beater. I get in a conversation with somebody, and the next thing I'm doing is telling them, hey, there's a way for you to be a Rotarian. And a lot of them are very interested. On this meeting last night, we were in small breakout groups, and they were asking, and I said, well, here's what we've done in our district. We're trying to launch a passport club. A lot of them had never heard of it. They wanted more information about it. They wanted to understand how the dues work, how the meetings work. Are you able to still participate with a local club? There was a lot of excitement. There's a couple of people who want to have some additional conversation about it. They've got people, one of them was in Tennessee. The question was, can I do that from here? I've got a friend who can't go to our Rotary meetings, but she wants to be in Rotary. And I'm like, yep, absolutely. So again, just be thinking about the charge that we have for this year, which is membership. We have an opportunity to bring in a lot of members as a new club. We're sitting right now at 15, I think, people who are consistent with wanting to be a part of this group. I'd really like to hit 20 and see if Bruce and Bob can help us launch a charter out there and really firm things up and be our own Rotary club, full on membership. So if everybody will please start talking to people, start giving them the elevator speech about what it is. Shelley, if you have any ideas about how to put something together that we can hand out, and I've thought even something as simply as business cards that we can print with our YouTube channel, with our email and things like that. I'm happy to have that done if anybody wants to give a shot at it. And then we can distribute them to y'all, and y'all have at it, and let's bring some more people in. Bruce, yes, please.
I was just saying, if you need some funds for, simple things like some printing or business cards, just let us know.
Thank you.
We'll support you.
Thank you very much. That is awesome. So what thoughts do y'all have at this point? Anything that comes to mind from any of y'all? Such a quiet group.
Since Bob and I didn't get a chance to talk at length about some of the programs, one of the things I was curious about, since we're going to be more of a regional club than a local club, the type of programs that we would want to have and what issues we would want somebody to speak to that would be consistent in other areas as well as our own. So that's one of the things that I'm thinking about, and I'll talk with Bob a little bit more, is that just in the thoughts of silver linings, I like the title of that, especially as we look at some of the things that are going on all around us, because when you start thinking about a silver lining, it's almost like there's a dark cloud that's surrounding that silver lining. And somehow we're going to have to turn the message around so that the problems that are on everybody's minds are viewed with a perspective that that's not the only thing that there is, but that there are solutions that are closer than we realize. And somehow we need to speak to those. when you start talking about the groups or the ages of potential Rotarians, and after you and I had done some texting, one of the things that I was doing some research on today was stress. And I think that we all know somebody that has some if we don't have enough ourselves. But I was surprised to find out that the age group that has the largest number of people who are stressed in it, at 60%, is from 18 to 33.
Wow.
And so when you start thinking about the whys of the stress and some of these other things, then somehow we need to be able to speak into the lives of some of those individuals with solutions to problems that we're already being made aware of, that are compounded by things like the plague and the problems it causes in the workplace and other places as well.
I think that's great. Karen, I saw you nodding your head a lot during some of that. What are your thoughts? What's going on there?
Most definitely. And, you were talking about how we find the silver lining. So every time there's a challenge, and I think that's kind of, as Rotarians, how we think about, we see an opportunity for service there. One of the things that helps alleviate stress is connecting with people, even if it's just online. So that might be a good end to the conversation. Are you feeling stressed because you're disconnected, and as we go back to the school year, I think a lot of people are looking at this, even though people aren't in school anymore, the school year does give, or used to give us kind of some kind of structure to our year. And we think about new beginnings in the August and September time period. And I think that just the silver lining is it's a perfect time to talk to people about this. And for programming, it might be great to talk with. I know I've got some folks here in Auburn and in other parts of the country who have experience in helping people manage stress. I have an expert in mindfulness. She's actually in the Amherst, Massachusetts area. She runs a program called Downtown Mindfulness. She would be a great speaker. But yeah, lots of silver linings in that whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing too,
fantastic.
And one thing that goes along with that, I was looking at some things on Rotaries that dealt with programs, and they were even suggesting things like TED Talks. And I'm wondering if some of us would have the opportunity to develop a talk about a specific topic that would be good for other places as well, and that some of us could be prepared at any given time to be able to share a topic or two that is in the forefront of our hearts and minds that would minister to needs that other people are facing.
That's
be excellent.
That's a great idea.
Both of those are great ideas. So,
and another organization I'm part of, it's called Village Friends, and we actually are a group of volunteers who help out people who are older, but not necessarily needing assisted living or any kind of health assistance. And we do things like give them rides to their doctor's appointments and check on them and do friendly visits. Anyway, we had some programming when everything was shut down, and we actually did have a Zoom, and we watched a real TED Talk and then had a discussion around it. And it was really helpful, and it was really fun. It's a good way to get to know people.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool and something I haven't even thought about. So this is one of the things I love about the group and getting together and hearing all the ideas. What sounds good as we exit tonight, I want all of y'all not go away, but go away and think about those things. What TED Talks would be good? What conversations would be good? Karen, I would love it if you could reach out to your person and see if she'd be willing to speak to our group one evening, and let's see if we can get something scheduled. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. I have somebody here who has spoken at our local Rotary Club, and I work with her weekly on a number of other things, who deals with childhood trauma and working with child abuse and those things that have happened through COVID. And she's so good and such, she just understands what's happened in the dynamics in our lives and can give ideas about how we can help in our communities to help some of the children that were impacted, especially as we're going into another COVID outbreak. School's about to start. We don't know what's going to happen. Another thing that, we could look at if y'all are interested in also hearing about the children's side of it.
Would you like to know the number one cause of stress?
Yes.
childhood trauma. And when you get beyond the financial thing, the work thing and responsibilities, one of the top 10 causes what goes back to childhood.
Yeah.
So
And
yes.
Yeah. And it's a good thing I'm working on a book with her right now, she's got me reading one on childhood trauma that was written by Oprah Winfrey and Gary Chapman. It's a great book, which I cannot call the title of right this minute either. And it's focused on changing the way we look at things from what's wrong with you to what happened to you for exactly that reason. And that stress in our adult lives comes out from issues with prior. Hi, Lisa, welcome. I'm glad you could join us. Shelley, any
Hello.
thoughts from you tonight? Okay, there you are. Hey, Lisa. You're muted.
Sorry.
Are.
Nope, I'm just actually just making notes of the meeting that we attend to so that I can come back and see. Just thinking through some of the things that we did at the church and the children's ministries when we handed out cards to events. We would also hand out something else like a small little bracelet that people can keep. That was referring back to you trying to figure out how we can get more members or let people know about us. But yeah, I'm just making notes at the moment and just thinking through it.
Yeah, sitting in the group yesterday was just almost invigorating because everybody has all of these ideas and they've done all of these things, and I still am a babe in the woods sometimes with so much of it. We have a lot of expertise with several of y'all. You've been in Rotary a lot longer than I have, and I love the diversity that we have with the different areas that we come from, and I just keep learning, and it's exciting to me because I'm a geek. So anyway, I'm okay with that too.
Is the book you were talking about, is the book called What Happened to You?
Yes, probably. And if you give me like 2
It's,
seconds, I can specifically
Perry?
tell you what it is. Yes, what happened to you?
Bruce Perry and Oprah?
Bruce Perry, there we go. Yes. Yeah, it's an easy read if you're listening to it, which is what I do back and forth to work right now. It's about 8 hours. A lot of those things that you go, I recognize that whatever it is they're talking about, from things with my own children, things with my own parenting, things from my own childhood. And you don't realize some of these things and the impact. And it also, because I manage people, I have an entire department that I am over, and it is making me, talking about mindfulness, making me a lot more mindful of how I interact with them, and constantly trying to raise awareness with when people are angry about, why is this person doing this? I don't understand that. And the whole stop for just a minute and recognize there might be something else that's driving that. It's frequently not about you. And a lot of my staff are working through that sort of direction in how they communicate. And it's been fantastic to see the changes in them and the patience, and hopefully we all walk away from this a little better than we were before, whether it's at work or our personal lives, our marriages, or with our children. And for me, also my grandchildren. So learning experiences. But, so if anybody has anything else on that, holler. Lisa, we were just talking about some opportunities for service in our communities and different programs we can start looking at. So any ideas or thoughts along those lines, or anything from what you've heard so far?
I'm just joining in, so I'm a little bit behind. That sounds interesting. That sounds a lot along the lines of what I do. We work at a nonprofit organization, and our whole goal is to prevent abuse and neglect, and by increasing the well-being of families. And so again, I'm sure that that's a conversation I would love to be more involved in.
Great. Well, as we start moving forward, we'll probably look to you for some guidance and thoughts on things we can do, and hopefully maybe we can set you up with a program to share some things with us, I think, if you would be open to that.
I think that'd be a good idea. have we got a solid schedule now on Tuesdays and Thursdays so that we
Yes,
can
and-
start looking at a calendar long-term?
Yes, and I will set up the meetings, the Zoom meetings coming forward. I have them through next one, which is August 10th, I think.
Mhm.
And for those of you who kind of joined as we've gone along, I'll send that out for you as well. Like Karen, I know that you were not in the original. But I'll set all the Zoom meetings and send the invites out for the next probably 2 months, but it'll hold the same pattern right now so that everybody can kind of predict. It's we alternate Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's every other week basically. So the one where it goes from Thursday to the next Tuesday meeting is a little bit shorter than the one going from the Tuesday meeting to the next Thursday. But that's the pattern. And I can send you out the date list, if not the invites anyway. I can just put it on an email and I'll send it out to y'all so you know what to set aside.
Okay, and if you can help me to keep up with those who have volunteered, some people that they know, or even the organizations that they're a part of, we'll go ahead and get those scheduled.
I'll include it in the notes when I send the notes out with this, when I do the recording and
Excellent.
the notes and the agenda from the meeting. I'll include all of that on there. So yes, I will name names. Just wait. All right, that sounds good. On another topic, and we'll touch on this, but we don't have a lot of people online. We had talked 2 meetings ago about getting together, maybe in Pensacola, somewhere that's sort of more central for the people that go all the way down in the Mobile area. And, you know, I'm in Dothan, Bill's in Dothan, and we've got some that are up north. And we were thinking maybe Pensacola. I would really like us to nail down a date and figure out who can go, because we can talk about it every meeting and it will never get here. So I'm probably going to send an email out. It's going to need to be a Saturday, I'm sure, because a lot of us are going to be driving, and I figure lunch, because most of us can get there in the morning, have lunch, have a meeting, get together, see each other face to face, and then make it back home if we commit a Saturday. So I'll send out some options if y'all will please just let me know what you think. And I don't know a lot about Pensacola, so I don't know what restaurants might be good or anything like that. Anybody that's closer. Shelley, you're down closer to that area, aren't you?
Yes, and my husband deals with a lot of restaurant because that's what he does for a living, to sell restaurant equipment. So he can tell us, or at least kind of give us a few ideas as to
Awesome.
what we want for restaurants that are good and clean.
and don't mind a small group of us coming and hanging out for a little while so we can hang out and chat, you know. Yeah, if you would get something or whatever for us, that would be awesome.
Okay, I can do that tonight.
Thank you. All right. So I didn't have anybody jump up and say, hey, I'd like to be your member spotlight person. So at the last minute, I threw my name in there, and I've talked all this meeting. So if anybody else would like to be my member spotlight person, I would cede the floor to you.
How about Larry?
We could do that. Do you want to tell a little bit about yourself? No, he's got to be prepped for that.
He could tell about his twin.
Yes, he does have one of those. And
Hey,
I'll
I
tell
do
you,
too.
that's right. Shelley's got
My
one.
sister.
Yeah. So here, quick question, completely off the topic then. The first time I met his brother, we were leaving, we were at their house. I was nervous. We were leaving because Larry and I have been together for a little over 8 years. So we're talking about adults here, right? We're not like childhood meeting. And we started out the door, and his brother, you know, do I shake his hand? What do I do? And he's like, come here a minute. And he grabs me and he hugs me. And I was a little taken aback, not shocked, not, you know, I'm a hugger, it's fine. And I kind of stepped back and he goes, there, you know, you wanted to see if it felt the same. So have you and your sister ever done anything like that?
No, but strangely enough, we both married guys with bald heads. And we will show up at family functions wearing the same thing, just from a different store, or sometimes even the same store. So yeah, it's funny. But yeah, we joke, we get we get picked on a lot because both our husbands are bald headed. So we have the same taste in men, I guess.
It makes sense. I don't know. His wife and I don't look anything, his brother's wife and I don't look anything alike. So I guess they don't do that, but they look very much alike.
Yeah.
So anyway, I will give you the 5-minute spiel on me since I'm the de facto leader. I guess y'all probably ought to know who you're dealing with, right? I've been in HR for 27 years. That entails that line on everybody's resume that says all other duties is assigned. So I've worked in manufacturing, which was a multinational company with 3 controlled groups and hundreds of subs under them. And I mean, from a East Coast Hockey League team to a fishing lure company to, I mean, it's just kind of all sorts of weird things. And I worked in a men's 2,000 bed maximum security facility. And I used to have to work back in the dorms with the prisoners. They were nicer to me than the warden was. So that was kind of odd. Worked at a casino, had to learn to run the wastewater treatment plant because casino got shut down. So I got elected to do that. Did all of my, when we got shut down, I did all the HR work sitting in my car doing security for 12 hours a day in the parking lot for 1.5 years. And did all the HR stuff from there while I played World of Warcraft and got paid for it. So it wasn't a bad gig. I told you I was a nerd. I am married to the love of my life. My daughter, I have one daughter, Alex, who is 27, about to be 28. She's married. She has 2 beautiful children, and her husband, and her 2 beautiful children all live with me. So I have the privilege of getting to have those grandchildren come run to me every evening when I get home, screaming my name and hugging me, crawling in bed with me at night. And it's wonderful. So not that I don't want to kill them sometimes, the children more than the grandchildren. But I've been at my current company for 8 years. It's a moving and storage company. We're Allied's largest agent. And I am over 5 disparate departments there that fall kind of under the umbrella of HR. Sort of, I'm the fixer. So whenever something's not working, they pass it over to me to fix. And then they eventually will move it off to someone else. But I love compliance. I'm a legal compliance person as an HR person. I'm not a party planner, but I do it when I have to. And I'm an adrenaline junkie. So I've been skydiving. I used to hot air balloon all the time. I've been scuba certified, and I like driving too fast. So that's me in a nutshell. And I'm involved in Bruce's leadership. I'm thankful for the invitation to be able to do that. I'm his aide and special projects person. I'm on the visioning team for our district. And I think at some point visioning for our group would be fantastic as we kind of really get a strong base here and figure out what we want to do going forward. And then of course the Passport Club here, and then our Dothan Tuesday Club. So
Mary, did you write all that down?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. And I'm the COVID point person for our company. 63 facilities in 21 states, including Guam. So that's been an adventure as well. Getting to be a little more adventurous right now. So anyway, and I am thrilled to be a part of this. I guess more than anything, I am thankful. And I feel very blessed to get to meet people like y'all and have these conversations. So thank you very much. And that is me.
I'm basically just a visitor, just visiting in occasionally, but I'm excited about the Passport Club. But I really haven't met William and Shelley and Karen. Of course, I know Bob and Larry.
We can have them do a quick introduction.
If you don't mind, I'd love.
I would love to. Bill, you're on my right, but I'm going to do ladies first. So Karen, why don't we start off with you?
My name is Karen Hopkins, and I've been a Rotarian since about 2002, following a group study exchange trip to Western Turkey back in the good old days when they did GSE's teams of 5, first time out of the country, and was in the western coast of Turkey, starting in Istanbul, ending in Antalya for 5 weeks. That was my first encounter with Rotary. Became a Rotarian after that. I was a marketing public relations person for many years before I decided to pursue a PhD. And I became, after I finished my GSE tour, I came home. A few months later, I was asked to take a position in the College of Business as a staff person handling international studies for our students that study abroad. And that was how I became interested in the university side of it. A few years later, went and got a PhD, became a professor, and I am now at Auburn University. And my husband is here. He actually was the main person who came here. He brought me along so we could be in the same place. I've lived all over the country, lots of states, especially east of the Mississippi, everywhere from Nebraska all the way up to upstate New York. 24 years in Knoxville, Tennessee. All my degrees are from the University of Tennessee, and lived in Little Rock, Arkansas, Richmond, Kentucky, and now here in Auburn. So I'm really glad to be here. And I think this is when the Passport Club charters, I think it will be my 5th Rotary Club, I think 4th or 5th.
Wow.
Karen, what do you teach?
I'm a marketing professor.
Thank you. Shelley, you want to go next real quick and introduce to Bruce?
Yes, if I can ever find my mute button. So I am currently in Fairhope, Alabama, and I am from Birmingham. Lived most of my life in all my life in Birmingham. We just recently moved down here. I've been working in insurance since I was 17 years old. I did quit for a little while to be at home with my children, my last little girl. And so recently just went back into insurance here in Fairhope, right up the street in Daphne. But during that time, I spent a lot of time volunteering. I ended up becoming staff of a church in Birmingham and was an elementary director for their elementary children. I've never been part of a Rotary Club. I've volunteered with Habitat for Humanity and some other outlets, but never part of Rotary Club. So I'm kind of excited to be in the Rotary Club here in Fairhope, or in the Passport Club. So thank you for having me.
You live in Bob Walsh company or country. Right?
Yes.
Yep. Well, Lisa, how about you? You want to give us a quick rundown for Bruce?
Well, I would love to. I would turn off my camera, but we have had COVID hit us this week,
Oh
and
no, I'm
not
sorry.
my best. So, anyways, you'll just have to look at my picture.
That's fine.
But I live in Greenville, Alabama. Been a member of Rotary since probably 2004, I believe it was. And stayed in Rotary pretty active until probably the last 4 or 5 years. Things just got really busy with work, so I'm excited about the Passport Club and being able to still be engaged with Rotary in some way. Since 1997, I've been engaged in a nonprofit. Their executive director. The nonprofit's called Healthy Kids. We serve counties all across the state in several different ways, from child nutrition to home visitation, working with mostly 0 to 5, mostly is what we work with, from parents to increasing quality childcare and so forth. Just trying to really support that age group and making sure that they have what they need to have their best start as possible, and supporting parents mostly as their first teacher, and just trying to ensure that the tools and access to care is available to the children of that age. I'm a mom of 5. Michael and I have been married for 31 years. Our oldest is 30 and our youngest is 9. I'll soon just have 2 at home, and the 9-year-old and the 13-year-old. We have one that just graduated high school and she's headed to Troy University to start her college And then, of course, the older two, one lives in Greenville and one lives in Pike Road. So that kind of, we have two grandchildren from the oldest, two little boys, that of course are just adorable as well. I think that's pretty much all. But you know, if we just stay really busy, so the Passport Club will be a really good asset, and to be a part of and meet a lot of people across the state, and further, I guess, from what we were talking last week or 2 weeks ago.
Hopefully, I think we'll get there with some further away, but we'll see. So thank you very much. And Bill, you want to cap it out there with a brief overview of you?
Well, Bruce should know a little bit more about me than what he realizes, because our sons ran together when they were in high school. So my son Josh knows his son Joseph, and we won't be able to talk about some of the things that they potentially got into. And then we still wonder about some things that we never found out about. But anyway, I've been working with benefits for voluntary insurance for about 20 years. I'm a bivocational minister. I've been doing that since 1980. And so Dothan is home. One of the things I was shocked to find out, and I'm glad that I guess it was Lisa that moved from Birmingham to Daphne. The only hot air balloon I ever have been in was in the parking lot of Amco Transmissions in Daphne, Alabama. And I found out today that Birmingham is the third most stressful city to live in the United States, behind Cleveland and Detroit.
Wow.
So anyway.
I would never have guessed that.
Me either. Gotta be
Bruce or
true.
Bob,
It
would
was
you
on
like
the
to
internet.
share? Sorry, go ahead, Bill.
Gotta be true. It was on the internet.
It must be. It must be. Bruce or Bob, any quick shares about yourselves for those who may not know you as well?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we sure can.
Okay, well, I'm an oilfield brat. I spent 30 years in the oil patch in the United States and overseas. I started with a company called Schlumberger. It's a French company, and I went to work for them, and I joined them to see the world, and they sent me back to my hometown. So that was nice. And then, so 3 years later, they said, okay, we're transferring you to Houston, but via Paris. I said, Paris, Texas. No, Paris, France. So I moved to Paris for a while and learned all the equipment there that they were manufacturing, came back and had to teach it in the States, and then went through various, line management, marketing management, and Karen and I ended up being marketing for Schlumberger in North America and overseas as well. So marketing kind of a little soft spot in my heart. But I have two kids, one living in Lafayette, Louisiana, one living in Houston. Nancy and I married 14 years ago. We both have previous marriages. And when we got married, we had no grandkids. Now we have 8. So we figured that situation out pretty quickly. But we moved here. We were living in Denver, moved here 2 years ago to Fairhope. Neither one of us ski. And once you've seen one mountain town, you've seen them all. And we said, well, where do you want to live? I said, by the water. And I had a friend here in Fairhope. So Nancy came down here, loved it, and we bought a house, and here we are. So that's a little bit about us. I've been in Rotary since 2005. So, and in the other district, I was membership director and for I think 3 years, and then AG, and then I moved here, and Jerry Blacklaw beat me up to work with him as AG, and so I stayed with it for Bruce, because Bruce twisted my arm as well. So I'm here.
And you're the reason that we have a passport club. Thank you very much. Your experience, so we appreciate that. Bruce, how about a quick 2 cents on you?
Well, I was born at a very early age. It's all downhill from there. But I've just had a very happy life. 4 kids, 6 grandkids, 2 great grandkids, and that's saying enough. But retired from the Fire Services Battalion Chief and 29 years at Southeast Health. In addition to Rotary, I sit on some other private boards. I was executive director for Wiregrass Mast. That's a military assisted safety and traffic. That's where you have to have a civilian component to have a MAST program. What MAST does is fly civilians, from either roadside missions or inner hospitals. Anyway, so I was over that for 30 years. 2 years ago, I dissolved that 501c3, and we've got enough private air ambulances in the area that, they still fly, but we just don't need the organizational structure. But, fire service, hospital, family. Did I mention great grandkids and grandkids? Bob, that's the only reason we have kids is to have grandkids. Okay. So, but, obviously been in Rotary since 97, I believe it is. And I've done some of it all. My middle name is Mikey. Mikey can't say no. You know how that is, Bob. So wherever I was, I didn't have enough sense to say no. So I'm still going through the process here. But I appreciate this passport club. It's very interesting, and if we ever need it, it's now. So thank you, all of you.
Well, thank you. Well, I think this has been pretty cool. We've gotten to chat like we're sitting in the room together. It's kind of a nice change, getting to know one another a little bit more. So thank you all for being here. Anybody have any last thoughts, words, or anything else for the evening? Just Bruce. Okay, we're going to do the 4-way test. I think we might just do it the way. Do you have something to say, Bruce?
Yeah, I wanted to say we were up at Lakeside School in Eufaula today, and they started a brand new Interact Club, and we're so excited
Really?
about that. So
Nice. Congratulations. Yay.
It's pretty neat.
Very neat. Yes. I got to figure out if I've got my 4-way test up somewhere. Try to keep them around. All right. I am going to share my screen real quick. And in the interest of brevity, we'll just try to recite it together. So I will lead off with the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth?
Is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And thank you very much. I've had a grand evening with all of y'all and look forward to our next meeting. So thank y'all.
Good night.
Everybody
Bye.
go watch the gymnastics on the Olympics and see that.
Yeah,
new,
that's it. That's it.
that
And I'll be in touch.
that new Auburn
you.
girl is going to be
Bye.
on. Bye. Good night.
See you.